Hey everyone, welcome to our bonus episode on tips to work from home successfully. Given what is happening in the world right now, I want to make sure I provide relevant content for my listeners, and this topic seems to be at the forefront of many people's minds, especially those who listen to this podcast regularly. I've been working from home on this business for about 7 months, and before that, I did some consulting from home, and before that, I had a traditional 9-to-5 job where I occasionally worked from home. I'm going to combine all those experiences into my top tips to help those of you who are new to working from home for an extended period of time, because this is much different than the occasional day that you take to work from home. My first few tips are going to apply to everyone and are foundational to working from home. Then I'll provide some tips that might only apply to some of you, including how to manage projects and what to do with children if you happen to be home with them during this time. So here we go. My first tip is to get up at a reasonable time, shower, and get dressed. Okay, that's really 3 tips, but you get where I'm going. You don't have to get up at the same time that you used to unless you have a killer morning routine. I definitely wouldn't get out of that. You also don't have to get dressed the same as you do for work, depending on your normal dress code, unless you are planning to be on video frequently. Then you want to think about those optics. Getting up and getting dressed will put you in the best mindset to start your workday. The days where I chill out in the morning and stay in my PJs a lot longer than I should are usually my least productive days. Be the most consistent with these 3 actions throughout the time you have to work from home. My second tip is all about meals. Make sure that you meal plan every single meal. Whether you are at home by yourself or everyone in your family is home, planning out your meals week to week will eliminate unnecessary frustration and limit how many decisions you have to make in a given day. This includes breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Also be careful with snacking too. It can get out of hand because you're home and you don't really think about it. You just walk into the pantry or the cupboard and pull something out. Pro tip, since you're at home, utilize that crock pot if you have one. You can set it and forget it. I also recommend writing the meal plan out and have it visible in a place where everyone in the family can see it. This is especially important for those with kids because you will limit the amount of questions asked about food. My third tip is to sit at a table or a desk while you're working. I know this sounds obvious, but trust me on this one. If you don't have a dedicated office, commandeer the kitchen table and set up shop. Sitting in a chair will allow you to focus and be more productive. Also, if you have to do virtual meetings, it will look better to be at a table rather than in your bed. Having said all that, it also depends on your work. I have definitely woken up and spent an hour on my laptop or iPad responding to emails all while laying in bed. But really good project work happens at a table or at a desk. For those of you who have an office, keep the doors shut when possible. I'll talk about managing children in a bit, but if you have the ability to shut the door, do it. It will help isolate you from the rest of the noise in the house if there is any. And a couple extra tips around your work area would be to make sure that you have natural light or really good light, and that will help you with screen time. Opening a window to let in fresh air is also a great idea. And for those with dogs, I definitely recommend setting up a dog bed near you so they can be near you and make you feel less alone. For those with cats, I don't really know what you should do because I'm not really a cat person, but I'm sure you'll figure it out. My fourth tip is to have a schedule. Work with your significant other if you have one, especially if you are both at home during this time, to determine a schedule that works for everyone. For some of you, your work requires you to be available during certain hours, so you need to account for that time. For others, your day might be more flexible and you can schedule around your children and spouse. If you need to do that, make sure you are communicating that to your supervisor if it's needed. Your schedule is more than when you just wake up in the morning and start your work. You need to block time to focus and make sure that you also have a clear sign-off time. Working from home doesn't mean that you need to be available 24/7. My fifth tip is to plan your projects. This is another tip that depends on the type of work you do, but you need to work with your supervisor to clearly outline your projects and expectations for the time you will be working from home. From there, set goals each day on what parts of the project you want to accomplish. When I used to work from home in my 9 to 5, these small goals are what kept me motivated and focused throughout the day. A friend of mine who manages a staff is allowing her people to do special projects and professional development that they don't normally get to do. This is another way to think about how to utilize your time. Tip number 6 is to get up and walk around. Every 20 to 30 minutes, I would get up and walk around your office or your house. This will help keep your blood flowing and allow you to step away from your screen for a bit. While walking to the bathroom could be considered getting up, it's probably a much shorter walk than you're used to from your office. So you want to add some time in to make sure that you stay active throughout the day. My 7th tip is a way to keep you connected, which means you should call or video chat with coworkers or friends. There are some professionals who are really happy working from home because it's quiet and they can focus without interruption. For others, the office environment and being around coworkers helps them thrive. So being isolated in their home is a struggle. For those who need that human connection, especially if your significant other isn't at home, plan times throughout the day to video chat with coworkers. You don't have to discuss anything, but just be on video together, and it might help you feel less alone. Similarly, you might have a friend who is at home working as well, and you can connect with them for a bit, even if you don't do the same type of work. My 8th tip, and a very important one, is to not think of this time as a vacation. It will be really easy for some of you to check out during this time of working from home. If you are someone who doesn't particularly like your job, or if you're in a toxic environment, the work from home time might seem like a dream to disconnect from your job or your coworkers. If this is the case, we have a much bigger issue, and you should probably go listen to season 1 of this podcast. Please remember, this is not a vacation. You still need to work and accomplish goals for your role. This also means you shouldn't be watching Netflix or TV while you're working because it will be a distraction. If you are looking for a vacation or some mental health days, talk to your supervisor or HR about using sick days during this time, and then don't work on those days. All right, let's talk about children. I know this is not a tip, but it's more of a reality. If you're in a situation where your children are home with you, this can be challenging depending on their age. I'm not going to pretend to have all the answers, but I'll give you a few tips that I believe could work for some parents. My first is to be transparent with your kids, and as a family, talk about what the next few weeks of everyone being home together is going to look like. Be transparent about your schedule and needs. If you need to be on a call or a video call, let everyone know and have designated space for you or for the kids during that time. For those with young children who can't manage themselves, think about shifting work time between you and your partner if you're both at home, or look to your community to see if there is anyone willing to watch your kids for a few hours so you can work. Think about finding another parent to switch kids with so you each have designated work time. If your work permits, consider working early or late in the day and during nap time to get things done. While we all want to be superstar parents and believe that we can manage a schedule where our kids aren't in front of the TV all day, desperate times call for desperate measures. You're not going to stunt your child's development if they watch a little too much Disney Plus while you're working at home. Having said that, don't ignore your children either. Use this as a time to connect more than you would normally. Think about meal times or even taking 15 to 20 minutes a few times throughout the day to take a walk or play outside if the weather is good. These moments will far outweigh the few hours of them watching a little too much TV in this season. For those with older kids, this is a great time to give them additional responsibility caring for younger siblings. Our kids see more and are often more resilient than we realize. Set clear expectations and give them a chance to surprise you. Also think about how you can all work together. If your kids have classes online or projects that were sent home, have everyone work at the kitchen table together, including you. It might be a little bit distracting for you, but at least everyone is together and working. At the end of the day, you need to do what is best for you, your family, and your career. Working from home can be easy for some and hard for others. This will also be an especially hard time for organizations and industries where there is little trust of the staff. I have never been a, quote, butt in the seat type of employee, so I have a hard time when knowledge workers are forced into arbitrary work hours. When you work from home, especially under these circumstances, I would think more about the projects and tasks you want to complete than the time you allocate. This obviously doesn't apply to those who are in a call center type position or positions that require you to be available for certain hours for clients and customers. You have to use your judgment, but don't stress yourself out in an already stressful time. If you are in a position where you are questioning your current career or asking yourself, should I quit my job? Use this time to listen to season 1 of this podcast to help you get clear and make some decisions and plans for the future of your career. If you have any questions or want to connect on social, you can find us at Ride the Tide Collective on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook.